So really quickly, my name is Rosie Orkanyan, and I am the Program and Volunteer Coordinator here at GROW. And today we are lucky enough to be joined by Scott Tabor and Jennifer Pasqua.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Pasqua, and I'm going to be the facilitator today. So I do ask that if you have any questions, use the chat box. More often than not, we'll take a pause. What Scott has to present is really good stuff. So I know that there are probably going to be some questions that you may have, and so we want to give you the opportunity to ask them. So if something does pop up, just go ahead and put it in the chat. I'll be sure to alert Scott that we have a question. We will also leave time at the end of this session for you to ask questions. Know that this is being recorded. So if you do have a personal question that you may want to ask, I'll go ahead and make sure to edit that portion out. Just let me know. Meanwhile, this is Scott Tabor. He is from the Michigan SBDC Cybersecurity Awareness Program. He's a specialist there. And this information webinar will discuss how to protect your small business against cybersecurity scams. And let me tell you what, we all know, especially close to the holidays, this is going to happen. So we're going to give you some takeaways, top 5 takeaways that you can do today to better secure your business. So Scott, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Rosie. So everyone should be able to see our slide deck, and you will be getting a copy of those after this webinar as well, so don't worry there. And as Jennifer said, ask questions all throughout it. She will let me know when we get some questions for me to answer, so don't be afraid to ask while we are presenting. All right. And is it recording right now, Jennifer?
Yep, I have you recorded.
Wonderful. All right. Then let's go ahead and get started. All right, so a quick introduction. I am Scott Tabor, and I do come from the Michigan SBDC, which is the Small Business Development Center. I worked in IT security for several years before I jumped ship over to the educational and training side. So if you want to learn a little bit more about me, you can definitely check that out on the slide deck when you get it. But let's keep moving right on in. So a little bit about who we are at the Michigan SBDC. We are funded through a cooperative agreement from the U.S. Small Business Administration, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and then also matching funds from our local network partners in each region. So as you can see, we do cover the entire state of Michigan. So wherever you are, we are probably a close drive away. So that's always a really nice thing to have, knowing that you have small business consultants who are right in your same town. We offer no-cost one-on-one business consulting, business education like what we're doing right now, information-based planning through our secondary market research. So all those market research websites that have huge subscription fees and all that wonderful stuff, we actually subscribe to several of the most popular ones, and we can actually help and assist with that market research for you. And then also technology commercialization. So if you have a game-changing piece of new kind of technology, we can definitely help get you started and get you on the way. We work with new businesses, existing businesses, companies looking to grow, and as I just mentioned, our advanced technology companies. We have a small business team, and those are our small business consultants who are the ones that you will most likely interact with the most if you do become a client of ours. Business growth team, our export assistance team. So if you are looking to export your product or services to a different country, we have a team of experts who can help you with that. And then the technology commercialization team. We do like to offer both in-person and online learning. Obviously, with COVID, we are much more restricted on that to online learning really at this moment. But here is a list of all the different topics that we have, and we also have more topics than what's listed here. And you can register for different trainings at sbdcmichigan.org/training. So if you're looking to start a business, you need help writing your business plan, you have financial and accounting questions, customer relations, cybersecurity, legal, marketing, and sales, all that kind of stuff, we have experts who are able to assist and educate with. All right, now I always like to give a disclaimer before we go any further, and it's please know that if you implement the measures in this presentation, you could still be impacted. There's no one solution, one answer, one tool that is going to 100% protect you and your small business. So it's important to know that we really talk about security in layers, and every layer is an extra piece of protection. But no matter how secure you make yourself, you could still be impacted by a cyber attack, fall victim to a data breach, and so on. All right, so we are going to really be talking today about different scams, different frauds, some COVID-19 related, some just in general. And I think it's really important that we do have this conversation. As mentioned at the beginning of today's webinar, we're heading into the holiday season and scams are rampant during the holiday season. In fact, we have what we call our security bites at smallbusinessbigthreat.com, and that is our weekly blog. And from November all the way through the end of the holiday season, we're going to have different entries pertaining particularly to holiday scams and things that small business owners can do to help protect themselves during the holiday season. All right, and so why is it important? Well, earlier this month, and actually in August, we had both CISA, which is a Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency from the federal government, and the SBA, the Small Business Administration. Both different organizations actually sent and alerted us to different small business scams. So it was pretty unprecedented for both of them to, at the same time, essentially send out two different alerts pertaining to these scams. So as you can see, it's stuff that is happening on a national scale, on a local scale, and it's important for us to talk about these. For these large organizations to send out alerts like this, this tells you that it's really rampant and that it's something that we have to be concerned about. All right, so let's talk about some known COVID-19 cyber scams right now. And I think this is only going to increase as the closer we get to both vaccines and the longer we get into it. So we're coming up almost we're probably like 4 months away, 3 months away from hitting a full year mark of COVID really being part of our daily lives. And so it's just going to keep ramping up. So some of those things are clinical trials, and that really pertains to the vaccines and to any of the other medications that in therapeutics that can help alleviate symptoms of COVID. So there's going to be scams about coming through emails asking you to maybe volunteer to take these or to try these clinical trials, be part of the trial. Or if you're looking to buy PPE equipment, personal protective equipment, if you're looking to buy it, you may be purchasing from scammers who are not actually selling you what you're purchasing or selling you anything at all. Or maybe you're the one who makes that product and you're trying to sell it to customers. And we actually had a case of that, a client of ours who was the seller of PPE product and trying to sell it to different buyers. And the buyers were the fraudulent people who were trying to scam the business. The stimulus fraud that happened early on in COVID, but with new stimulus potentially on the horizon in the coming months, that's something to keep track of again. Grant frauds and donation frauds. So if you are looking to try to get money for a grant to help survive the COVID for your small business, or donations to help your small business, those could be fraudulent. Or you could have the Paycheck Protection Program. I know that's a little bit older now and doesn't necessarily pertain at the moment, but there is huge frauds of that early on, along with EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. So we saw huge frauds in both of those early on. Business process requests, and we have a few really good examples of that today. And those are really emails or business operation requests that seem normal, that scammers are hoping will trick you. Same with human resources requests, and we have some good examples of that too. Very similar to the business process. Undelivered goods, update your shipping information. You may have received emails that say, hey, we tried to ship this to you. The address looks incorrect. Send us your new address. And they're having you click a link to update it. And we'll talk about links in some of the examples we have. Along with vacation and event cancellations. Obviously, within most in-person events being really limited to non-existent, there's a good chance that maybe you had a vacation planned or you had an event planned and it's being canceled, and there's scammers out there trying to trick people into thinking that their event's been canceled. Click this link, go to this website, submit information, so on and so forth. And really, it's all scams to get your personal information or your financial information. Some other COVID-19 frauds that we've seen are spoofed websites, and these were pretty active early on, and they're actually pretty active still. The World Health Organization, the Center for Disease Control, Johns Hopkins University, who's taken the lead in helping to map out where the infection rates are and where COVID really is. The SBA has several spoofed websites made for them. The IRS, the Department of Health, and that's both federal and state and local. looking for fake websites that are trying to portray that they're the authority for the health department, and they're trying to spread misinformation and have you download essentially links and files to install on your computer or your smartphone. And it's actually malware. There's some articles pretending to be that they're from CNN and CNBC and People. And so the way they're trying to come off as authority of being the media and trying to tell people what's happening, what's going on, and those help really drive scams. And then the tracking apps, which are becoming pretty popular again right now, where people are asking you to download the app to help track where you are, to alert you if you've been around someone with COVID, or you can alert that you have COVID, and it's going to alert those around you. You want to really be cautious and make sure you're downloading the correct ones. I know the state of Michigan pushed out the other day their app, and they're requesting people to sign up and join for it. So you want to confirm that it's the correct app prior to just downloading and installing any app. So that's a big one to check on and to verify before you download. So what are the researchers seeing? And this really plays into the amount of scams that both COVID-19 and just this year alone has really seen an increase of. And they're not all COVID related, but they almost all are, because they're playing on COVID fatigue. And so unfortunately, because of that, this year is probably going to be one of if not a record year, close to a record year of increased scams, increased attacks, increased malicious spoofed websites, all of that stuff. So we're going to be seeing a continuing large influx of it. So as you can see on the next several slides, that we do have large numbers of different scams that have popped up and that we're seeing. So early on, 55% of COVID-19 attacks are phishing. And so that's why one of the biggest reasons why we're going to talk a lot about phishing today. Between the months of February 2020 to March 2020, there was a 128% increase in ransomware. And the ransomware is still on the rise all throughout the rest of the year, as it's one of the biggest tools that hackers are using to really get our money and to get our data, get our information. If we keep moving forward, we saw that TrickBot is the most common malware payload. And that's actually a really nasty piece of malware that unfortunately is just really escalating and getting to a point to where it's one of the number one, as it says here, the number one payload for the hackers are using. COVID-19 related attacks were up by 600%. I want to say that was back in May. So it was a huge jump between just a handful of months to get to that number there. We've seen large increases of complaints made both to the FBI and IC3, which is a good thing. It means that we as the citizens, the small business owners, we're recognizing these scams coming to our inboxes, or we're recognizing these scams that are coming to our businesses, and we're making complaints to the people who can help investigate them. So it's not all bad news. It means that those are good numbers to see here, that we are taking it seriously, that we're aware of these issues. So it's really important that we keep making those complaints. As we keep going through, it's just more and more stats here, and it really, I want to flood with all these stats. I'm trying to flood the webinar with them all, because it's important to know that these numbers are just going to keep growing, and that these attacks are real. It's not just a perceived thing that you may hear from a team member, or you may have saw it on the news briefly. These numbers are real. These attacks are actually happening, and in one way or another, we're probably going to be impacted by it. All right, so I do want to focus primarily on social engineering attacks today as really the lead scams that we're going to be talking about. So really that's going to be things like phishing. It's going to be things like smishing. We'll touch very briefly on vishing. I don't have any examples. It's hard to do audio samples on a webinar like this to make sure everything captures correctly for the attendees to hear. But we're going to really, as I said, focus primarily on phishing and some on smishing.
Before you move on, Scott, let's give people an opportunity. If they have any questions in regards to what you just covered, put it in the chat. Otherwise, we can continue on. Let's give everyone a few more minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to help have some clarity what smishing is, it may be a new term for everyone.
Yeah.
Smishing is when you get a text message.
Okay.
Where it's telling you, hey, click this link, or hey, we want to send you this, you won this prize. So think of it as phishing, but through your smartphone.
And we've seen a lot of that as well as of late. Okay, well, go ahead.
Yes,
it seems
we
like
have.
everybody's just following along, Scott. So
Wonderful.
move forward.
All right, let's keep moving. All right, so we're going to dive right into examples here. And I think examples is really one of the best ways to talk about the different scams out there, because these are the emails that we're going to actually see. These are emails that I've received, teammates have received, clients have received. These are emails potentially that you've received, or you received similar looking emails and similar emails that you go, yeah, I got something like that before in my inbox. So I think it's really important for us to highlight what the actual attacks look like. So starting on this particular slide, I did circle a few things in red that should automatically be kind of red flags, warning signs that maybe this email is not a good email to look at. So we start off right away with the word program up top. Well, it's missing the G, so it's already missing the correct spelling sets. Usually can be a key giveaway that something is suspicious, especially if it's coming from someone claiming to be the SBA. So as you can see, it does say SBA.gov on there. So that should be, an official email address, a legitimate email address, but it's got that spelling error. So that's already a big red flag there. Secondly, we're looking at, there's an attachment in here. So we know that there's a file that they want us to download and open up. So attachments should always be red flags. It doesn't always mean that the email you get is bad because there's an attachment. I know I send very legitimate emails with attachments all the time. I'm sure most of you do too, but it's just always something to keep in mind when you receive an attachment to really, you want to verify that email to be who it's coming from and to be a legitimate email prior to opening or downloading that attachment. And when we start reading this email here, the thing I have circled here is please print them out. And that's referring to that attachment up here. So, they're giving you a direction that says, hey, please print this out. So download this attachment that we gave you, print it out, and then submit that document to us by uploading it to your account. So they're telling you to take a step. So when emails tell you to take a step or take an action, that should always be a red flag. It just goes, okay, I need to look at this email more closely. And then lastly, I also circled the word enrollment. That's also spelled incorrectly. So you have two big spelling errors, a direction telling you to please, download the attachment and to download it, install it, upload it back to us. And really that attachment there is going to be a piece of malware. And it's a good chance that it's ransomware, or maybe it's a TrickBot, the malware that we talked about, which usually has a delivery of ransomware. Eventually it's going to be installed on your computer from TrickBot. So as you can see, this email is a prime example of some easy red flags to catch and just some things that you should always be aware of whenever you see an attachment, is just always think twice about it. And if you get an email like this, what can you do? Well, you can try to reach out to the SBA to see if this is a legitimate email. It very well might have been when they just had some spelling errors, but I can tell you in this particular case, this was a malicious email, and that was ransomware actually within that attachment. So if you downloaded that to your computer is going to start encrypting all the files on the computer, and then the cyber criminal is going to say, hey, I just encrypted your device, and potentially other devices on your network if you're connected to a business network, and they're going to ask you for money now to unlock those files for you. You may pay it, and you may find that they unlock it, or you may find that they actually don't unlock it. So you get put into a really tough position there on deciding whether you should pay the ransom or not. How can you trust a cyber criminal who just, essentially encrypted your data, making it so you can't access it any longer? All right, let's keep moving forward. So a different example here from the SBA, and this was in relation to the EIDL loan, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. So I did change the account number here this way, in case that was a real account, we wanted to hide it. So in here, they give you, I circled it, they say, hey, here's your application account number. So one thing, whenever someone sends you an email, says, hey, here's your application number, here's your number, here's whatever it is that they're pertaining to, always verify to see if that's your number. This particular email we received from a client, and it's a great example of it. They actually said that the application number was incorrect. It wasn't their actual application number from when they did actually apply for this loan. So that's a big red flag right there that makes you automatically go, wait a minute, it's a different app number. I don't know if this is going to be legitimate or not. Yes, it's possible that it was a mistake within the email, but chances are that their system isn't going to make that mistake. And it's going to be, if it's incorrect in there, it's probably a bad email. And then they're also asking you to click this link to create your account. So what they're hoping for you to do then is to enter in the account information that you already have with the SBA, your username and password to check on those loans, applications, and everything else to the SBA that you may already have. And now you just gave them your SBA information. And they're going to also try it on any other account that they can associate to you, whether it's an email account, other business accounts. And so that's how they're hoping that you click and fall victim to it.
You know, Scott, I was talking to someone, and this just kind of reminds me, but I was talking to someone who said that they just keep a little book handy next to their laptop. So when they're checking email, they can just fully look right there, because we have a tendency now, because everybody's on high alert of whether or not they're going to be getting their funds and so forth. They just have that little notebook there with all of their numbers, so that when something like this pops up, they can be easily alerted that it's fraud or not fraud.
No, absolutely. And that's a great advice to do. So that way you can just quickly go, nope, this is not the real number. Nope, this isn't what I need. Nope, didn't actually send this application to them. I don't know why they're emailing me. That's actually a great thing that they can do, especially because, early on during COVID, and I think as we continue to go forward with any relief efforts, people are going to want that money that they're requesting, because they're going to need it. We're not just requesting the money just to get extra cash on hand. It's to make sure that we can pay our employees, we can pay our business bills, that we can survive as a small business to the coming months. So that money is critical and needed, and that's really what a lot of scams are playing on and still play on, is that fear. If you're too late, you won't get your relief. If you're too late, you won't get the help you need. So they're hoping that you just go, yep, that's my account number. I'm going to click on create account, give the information, and then you're going to go, well, I did what I needed to do, SBA. Where's my assistance? And in reality, you didn't talk to the SBA there. You just communicated to a cyber criminal. All right, so this one has a lot in here, so we're not going to dive terribly deep into some of this, but as you can see, there's a SBALoanGroup.com as the email sender, and this was an unsolicited email that many people that we've worked with received, and also some of our team members received. So it's unsolicited from a group called PPP@SBALoanGroup.com. And you go, I don't know who this is. They're soliciting me to do something. And there's several things in here. They say, obtain this loan at no cost to you. Okay, so there's no cost for a loan. So I guess there's no interest or anything that I'm going to have to pay. That's a little weird. Update your information using the link below. So they're telling you, click this link, the SBA Loan Group and Funding application. It's like, okay, and let's say after a completed pre-filled DocuSign will be sent to you. So they're going, okay, after you do this, something else is going to happen. They're telling you, hey, we're still waiting on official word from the government when documents are need. Well, wait a minute, this should be needed. So that's poor grammar. And it says you will receive a link where you can upload the necessary documents. So they're telling you that if you download this here, that you're going to then have to upload it. So they're telling you really download this, which that should really maybe be a red flag. It says it's probably malware or a malicious website they're sending you to. They got the link again here where they want you to click this link yet again, or you can share the application with a friend of yours. So not only are you potentially, scamming yourself, you send it to a couple of friends who are small business owners, you're now helping them scam your friends as well. So it's really important to consider who you forward emails to when you see emails like this. We did find it to be fraudulent. So as you can see, there's lots of little red flags in here. That should really catch the eye, just make you dive a little bit deeper into it. Whenever you're in doubt, the best idea is just always to toss it out. So that's another example of what some of those scams look like. All right, now this was an email that I received, and so to help let you know a little bit behind this one, GVSU is my employer. Grand Valley State University is where the Michigan Small Business Development Center's lead center is located at, along with our West Michigan office. So we use GVSU technology and we use their services. So you can see they know that I work at GVSU, so they have GVSU VO1P, it should be VoIP, VoIP, for voice over internet protocol for our phone systems. And they're saying that I have a voicemail. So already right off, I see that VoIP has a 1 in there. So for me, that's a big red flag. And I'm going, GVSU, why would they send me from this really weird email address at Cisco messaging? something at wustl.edu. Well, if it's from GVSU voicemail, then that's definitely wrong right there. So I instantly knew right away, this is garbage, this is a phishing scam, I'm just going to delete it. But say you didn't catch that, or say that ended in gvsu.edu. You then have to come to the attachment that they have here. This is the supposed voicemail attachment that they would send if I missed a phone call. So in looking at it, you go, well, that's not the format that we usually get those in. So obviously, if you've received them before, you know automatically that it doesn't say at gvsu.edu here, so it's already, it's already really red flagged, and then you know that that's not what the voicemail looks like when we receive it, so that's a double red flag, and you can instantly go delete. So with that being said, we know that this attachment here was going to be malicious then. There is going to be a goal behind it, so to have us click and open it up, and probably take us to a fake login page that says, hey, you need to enter in your username and password, and now I just gave them my GVSU username and password that they can use to access my email, access my account information, get on all the different services that GVSU does for us. So it's a really easy way for them to mimic. And this would be really what we call one of those business process or business operations scams that we talked about in some of the early slides, where they're trying to make it look like a normal email that you might actually click and open with on a daily basis, that it's your normal work routine. All right, a few more here. So this is another business process email, and really we saw these ramp up during COVID as well. So really the first month or two of COVID, everything was COVID. COVID. It was in literally almost every phishing attack that we saw. So obviously everyone caught on and went, oh, these all are suspicious, we're not falling for it. So the cyber criminals actually adapted to that, and they started sending more business process and business operation emails with the hope that they sneak through. The fact that they don't necessarily say COVID in subject lines, or they aren't COVID focused or specific, but they're more operational specific, saying, hey, especially like in this example, I received your travel and expenses in the mail earlier this week, but it's not on the current form. Hey, I please see the revised request by clicking this link that I created for you. You're going to get a slightly higher payout this time because of errors that you did with the original form. Hey, here's your Grand Valley State University down here to click on to say that, yeah, we're legitimate. This is a real email. Well, obviously, knowing that, if my employer doesn't send emails like this is a big red flag to me. And so if you're obviously a small business owner, you may be the one sending these emails to your employees. And so they're going to have to recognize that, hey, this isn't the normal email that the boss sends, or this doesn't look right. And so look at the red flags there. So clicking that revised request was essentially going to send me to a website to log in with my username and password, and boom, they have all my information again. All right, so some other fun ones here. So this is another good business process request email. I did change some of the names in here, I think, as you can tell. I do like to have a little bit of fun while also trying to keep the confidentiality of who the emails are sent to or sent from. So here's a good example of, hey, you've received a OneDrive file. And if you're not familiar with OneDrive, it's Microsoft's version of their cloud storage that comes with their solutions. Similar to like Dropbox, similar to like Google Drive, but it's the Microsoft flavor of it. So, so they're saying, hey, you have a new file here that we want to share with you. Safely review this. So they use the word safely to try to make it seem even more legitimate to me, to the person who's receiving it. Oh, if I click this, oh, it's safe to click this. Well, I'm going to go ahead and review it. We'll get a copy of the file, and it's actually going to install malware on my computer. So little things like that, use not just with the link, but using the word safely. Cyber criminals are definitely smart people. They try to play on the human factor of knowing that, hey, a lot of us can recognize what they look like, but hey, then we're throwing that word safely in there may make you actually end up clicking it. Another example here of a really nice email that's really friendly, easygoing, very little pressure. This is actually please reply with unsubscribe if you don't want to receive this email. So with that being said, if you replied to this email, it says, hey, unsubscribe me from this, chances are they're not going to unsubscribe you, but they're going to know that you're a real email address now with a person behind it. And that's important because then that means that they can put a checkbox against your email account and just spam your inbox like crazy because they know that it's a monitored account. Someone actually uses it and checks it, whether it's daily or at least, once every few days. They know that someone looks at that email. So you're going to get an increased amount of spam and phishing emails, kind of like those phone calls that you get from we'll say like the auto insurance or your we notice that your car loan is needs to be refinanced, or your warranty is going to be gone. We want to help you get a new car warranty. I know I get those calls on a weekly basis, or I used to. And I'll say I used to because if you just stop answering those phone calls, or if you don't hit the number one to unsubscribe, or you don't interact with it, they're going to stop calling you because they aren't going to ever be successful with that number. They're going to think no one's ever answering it, no one's interacting with it, so that number actually is going to stop getting called. So the less you interact with suspicious emails, suspicious phone calls, text messages, the better you are actually at securing yourself, because you're going to end up getting less of them over time. All right, another good business process one, and this was dear account holder, your incoming emails and documents have been placed on hold due to recent spam activities. Kindly validate your account to view new files. Click this link to validate account. Well, a few weird things with this particular email. If you go up to the top, you see GVSU Professional Science Master's Program. Okay, that seems legitimate right there. That popped up in my email inbox. Nothing suspicious hiding there. But you come down, why are they talking about incoming email for me? That doesn't make sense to me. Why is the Science Master's Program talking about my email inbox? They want me to click on this. Okay, a little weird. Best regards, Grand Valley State University IT Services Help Desk Web Service. Wait a minute, I thought they were the master's program. So you can see it's little things like that where the email looks pretty official. It's got, a nice signature. It's got an email address that's within the network, but everything they're talking about just doesn't add up. It doesn't connect. The dots don't connect here. So that's another big red flag. And you can easily go, no, this is fake. This is a phishing attack. Similar with things right here as well. So this came from Information Technology, emailed to me. Thanks for contacting us about your account. You want your request been reviewed. We can't delete your account yet. If you didn't make it, click this cancel request button. So, you may get this and you go, oh, I didn't want my email account deleted and gotten rid of. I need this. I'm going to quick hit cancel request so that way, I don't lose my emails because I need my emails to do my job. I didn't quit. I'm not leaving. And this is a very common email, but it's also a very successful one. Because it puts a pressure on you going, I don't want to lose my emails. I can't have that happen. Let me cancel this. And when you cancel it, it's going to ask you typically for a username and password again, so that way they have access to your email account now. So these ones are really successful. That's why we see a lot of these ones. All right, a few more of these. And I really like these, as I said, because we see these so many of these. This one here, it has no links, nothing really pertinent that's going to make you go, I don't know if this is legit. But it says, how do I update my direct deposit and details account? So this is one of those business op ones again. The thing that's really nice here is it's, they're trying to communicate to you just to get you talking, and then they're going to have you try to assist with the change, and they're going to play a game against you somehow. It's not quite defined in here how they're going to try and take advantage of you, but this was definitely a phishing email where they're trying to get you to give them information of some kind. So not every email has an attachment or a download link or a link to click. They're looking just to simply interact with you to see what they can get from you through conversation. Another one right here, and this is actually a pretty typical one that we see quite often. And this is, are you available to make an instant transfer payment for me? And these come in many different flavors. Sometimes it's instant transfer payment. Sometimes it's, hey, can you go buy gift cards for me? I need to give them to clients, or I need to give them away as prizes at this conference I'm at. But so I need you to go do this for me. And so what they typically is they ask you, like in this particular one, they're going to ask you for that transfer payment. So they're going to ask you to give them, your financial information, your bank routing numbers, your account numbers. And then they're going to take money out of that account, and they're going to tell you what account to put it in. You're going to send them money, and then they're going to be gone with your money, and you're not going to get that money back. Same with the gift card scams, where if you get typically you'll see it from a supervisor or a boss. sending the gift card scam to an employee, someone at the desk, administrative assistant, someone's job who it is to help the boss essentially. Then you'll get an email that says, hey, are you available? I need you to go get gift cards. Can you go to Walmart to buy these Amazon gift cards for us? And then they're going to ask you to take a picture of the gift card, scratch off all the information on there, so that way they can activate the card. They're going to make purchases with that card or transfer that money over to an account they want to use it on. And then you're going to go, all right, I did my good deed for the boss. I got this done. They're happy with me. I got it done before they said so. And then the boss is going to go, why did you just spend $5,000 on gift cards? When they get the alert that a purchase is made on their account. And you're going to go, you asked me to. And they're going to go, no, I didn't. And you're going, but here's the email. And you're going to realize that it was a phishing email from someone impersonating your boss. So some things you really want to look out for is anytime something seems out of the norm. So if your boss has never asked you to do that before, or it's not something that you typically do, you want to confirm with them. Is this right? Call your boss, text your boss, email them in a different email instead of replying to this one. Check the email up at the top. Does that actually, it may be your boss's first name might be Bruce Wayne, but the email address that follows it could be incorrect. So we actually have, I think, one of these coming up. It's going to show my boss an email that consistently comes the same from his name to many of our employees throughout the state. But we'll get to that one in a second to give a better idea behind it. Some other things here. This one comes from GVSU, and this one came to me. So I didn't want to hide anything with it. So you can see Carol Plummer at support.arfa.france. Why are they talking about a payroll error? Why is a company from France trying to help me with my GVSU payment? So those are easy red flags to see. If we keep moving on, here we go. So here's the one from my boss. So JD Collins is the state director for the Michigan SBDC. And so this one is a pretty common one to come out. It says, reply with your cell phone number, or you get an email that says, hey, I need you to reach me. Hey, I'm at a meeting, but I need to talk to you. Are you busy? Really quick one-liners that they're hoping to interact with. And these typically are done to help those gift card scam purchases that we talked about, or the money transfers, or the set up a new account. So a few big red flags here in this particular one is Judson Collins. His first name isn't Judson. So that's a big red flag there. Obviously that is his last name. So when it comes through though, you can go Judson Collins. Well, that might be JD, okay, maybe. But obviously knowing my boss, knowing who he is, I know that that's not him. And then I look at the email address, powellangelina1992@gmail.com. That instantly tells you that this is a spoofed email. It's a phishing email, and they're hoping to get you to send them personal information, typically gift cards or banking numbers, banking routing numbers, so that way they can take money out of your accounts. And I see in the subject line, swift response, Daniel. This was sent to a team member with the name of Daniel. So it's kind of personalized here. JD Collins, hey, I'm just asking for your cell phone number, but you're going to give them information that the cyber criminal is going to try to use to exploit you with somehow. All right. We keep moving forward. Let's talk about those smishing attacks real quick. And then we'll start getting into some steps that you can take today to better secure your small businesses from these types of attacks. So here we have a text message that came during the stimulus time of, hey, we need you to accept your stimulus. It's pending. Click this link. Well, this isn't how the IRS was functioning. They definitely weren't going to send you a text message to claim your refund. It was going to happen automatically. If you checked it out online through different media articles that are out there, if you went to IRS's website, they told you verbatim how you were going to get these refunds. And clicking a link in a text message to your phone definitely was not it. But because, I got 3 of these sent to my work phone, it tells me that people were clicking on them. It tells me that they were successful enough for these cyber criminals to consistently send these types of text messages in hopes that someone clicks. And if they're continuing to be sent, that means that someone's clicking on them. It's becoming successful for that cyber criminal to keep sending text messages. And if we look, they're all at very different phone numbers, 201, 209, 904, but they're all really based on the same type of message of give us your information, click this link. So they're really prevalent, and willing to bet that almost every single one of us probably got way too many text messages during the month of October and the very beginning of November, and they're all election based. I know I've got dozens and dozens of those. And the question is how many of them were legitimate and how many of them were cyber criminals hoping that you would click that link within the text message, pretending that they were legitimate, either candidate or a political source. So it's always, whenever you receive text messages that are unsolicited, for me personally, I never answer them. I never click them. I never respond to them. Because if I don't know the number, especially on my personal phone, if I don't know the number coming in there texting me, chances are it's going to be a smishing attack, something that you don't want to receive. All right, we can keep moving forward. Real quick, Zoom bombing. This is something that I was hoping I wouldn't have to talk about, but I still have to because it's still making the news. It's still pretty prevalent where different universities, businesses, organizations are hosting online meetings for all the remote employees. And this really is for GoToMeetings, Zoom, and any of the other online virtual platforms. It's not just for Zoom. Every single one of them has their own security flaws and oversights that people make when it comes to setting up their meetings. So I think, as all of you saw when you first joined today, Rosie had to actually let you in to our Zoom meeting today. You couldn't just join automatically. You went into what was called the waiting room. And that is a great feature to use. And I was actually very happy to see that Rosie did deploy that because it's a great way to monitor who's coming into the meeting and whether they belong here or not. So when she sees that Scott Tabor is requesting entry to the room, she can go, oh, that's our speaker. I know exactly who it is. I can admit them to our meeting. But if she goes, I don't know who Scott Tabor is, or I don't know why he's trying to join this. This is an internal grow meeting that we have with just our employees. Why is he trying to get in here? She'll automatically know, hey, I don't need to let him in because, this isn't for him. But what we're continuing to see is people, as it says, Zoom bombing, where unauthorized people are getting access to your meetings, whether it's because you made the meeting number public, you did it private, you have a public link for people to see, you don't have the waiting room feature enabled, you have it so anyone can join. People coming in and really disrupting these meetings, and disrupting images, showing images that are uncalled for, or they're taking over the chat, or they're joining and they're presenting their screens, or they're jumping on the mic and they're saying very inappropriate things. All of those are things that can easily be combated through the different security settings within Zoom and the others. So some tips here that I always recommend is use the latest versions, update these solutions regularly. They have regular updates. Zoom updates, usually at least once a month, usually, and especially early on during COVID, it was 2, 3, 4, 5 times a month because they were trying to address all these issues. Only allow signed in users, or those users that you can that you permit to come in. Keep the personal meeting IDs private. Don't post these links on public forums unless they're meant for the public. But if it's an internal meeting, don't post it on the business Twitter page or social media page for your employees to find it. Restrict who can share the screen. So don't allow every attendee to have the ability to share a screen. If you take that away and you only have one person who can control who can share, you're going to better protect yourself there. And really one of the best things is go through all the settings and security configurations. Each solution is a little bit different, but they all have these built in to really help protect you and to protect your clients, to protect your employees, and protect anyone who's attending your session. All right, so let's dig into what we can do today. So one of the best things that you can do in combating these cyber attacks and these scams is backing up your data. And you go, well, how does that help me combat stopping an attack? Well, it's really more for when we do fall victim to the attack. And chances are one of us will fall victim. It's not a question of if we fall, but when we fall victim. I know I've fallen victim before to stolen credit card numbers and other issues. So it even gets us in the security field. But having our data backed up really allows us to protect our business, because if someone, say we get ransomware installed on our computer because we clicked that open attachment, installs ransomware, and they want us to pay them money, but instead I have data backups that happen every day. So I can go, forget that. I'm just going to restore my data from yesterday before I fell victim to that ransomware attack. I can be up and restored in a matter of either minutes or a couple hours or maybe even a day. So yeah, maybe I lose a day's worth of work, but I'm up and running and I don't have to worry about that hacker any longer. So backups are really one of the key ways and best ways to protect your business. And it's really one of the most important things that anyone can do. And a lot of times you can, back things up easily and inexpensively to the cloud. So that way everything's done automatically for you. You don't have to worry about it. But one thing I do always urge when I say you don't have to worry about it, always check your backups just to be on the safe side. So that way, if you do have to restore from them one day, you can easily restore from them. Make sure that they're actually backing up. Verify that it's working correctly. One of the other most important things, and this is really one of the easiest things you can do, but it's something I think a lot of us hate doing because it always seems the updates want to happen, right before the presentation or before the meeting, or it's, 5 o'clock and the computer wants to forget it, I'm just going home. But no, this is one of the best ways to protect yourself, is performing your operating system updates for both Windows or Macs. Same with your smartphones. You want to make sure that you keep consistently update those along with software. And the nice thing is this is free. All of these updates are free. They're meant for your computer by you purchasing that computer. You get updates for essentially for life on that software. So if the operating system, obviously things like Windows 7 aren't supported any longer, but those take anywhere from 8 to 12 years before they stop supporting making updates for those. And if you have Windows 10, you're going to be good for the foreseeable future of receiving free updates to help patch any security issues. So when updates in general, they are one of the easiest things and best ways to protect yourself. 90% of attacks can be thwarted by having software that is up to date. Multi-factor authentication, and this is really helpful in case someone does steal your account. So you do fall victim to one of those scams and you submit your username and password, like on those SBA examples early on, but you have multi-factor authentication turned on. So that means you're going to get either a text message, an email message, or maybe a prompt on your smartphone that says, hey, did you just try to sign in to this service? And if you didn't, you can hit no, and it's going to prevent who's ever trying to sign in from signing in. Or if it was you hit yes, boom, you're now signed in, you're good to go. Multi-factor authentication is probably the best way. Actually, I won't even say probably. It is the best way to protect your user accounts. Microsoft found on their services that they are 99.99% successful in preventing unauthorized access to any Microsoft service if it has multi-factor authentication turned on. So that means if I'm using OneDrive and I'm using Outlook and the other Microsoft products, and I have multi-factor authentication enabled, 99.99% likely no one is getting into my account if they are not me or authorized. So that is the best way to protect your accounts. Password lengths are always great. Using good passwords, strong passwords really matters. But we know that people reuse passwords or the hackers can eventually guess them or crack them. So by having multi-factor authentication enabled, you're really minimizing their chances by almost 100% from getting access to your account. And so on most services, it's free. On other services, it may not be free, but it's only, it's really inexpensive, maybe a couple of dollars a month. At that point, if there is a service that requires it, that it isn't enabled for free. So, but things like our banking, our insurances, our emails, all have, and the social medias all have multi-factor that's built right in that is free to use. So I highly encourage, and it's really, as I said, the best way to prevent this from a cyber criminal getting into your account. So as I said, passwords are really good too, and you have been having good, strong passwords that are long, things like that. But let's change the conversation a little bit from passwords to phrases. And passphrases are sentences that we use as opposed to your standard password. So you can have a random password of just mash your fingers on the keyboard and get whatever you get, or you can, in good luck trying to remember that consistently, or you can use a passphrase that's an easy sentence for you to remember. So a good example of like a passphrase could be breakfast for dinner is super awesome 24/7. Super long, it's 40, 50 characters long, as opposed to maybe 12 characters long. So longer the better, makes it take that much more time for a password cracking tool to guess your passwords. But it's also easy for you to remember. It's something memorable to you, as opposed to just a group of letters, numbers, and characters that you're trying to remember that you probably use for all your passwords. And another great thing is password managers. And these are tools where you can save and store all of your passwords to make it really easy. Most of them will plug right into your web browsers as well, so that way you never really have to enter in the password again. You just have to authorize and authenticate into the password manager that you have on your computer or on your smartphone. And these can sync across multiple devices at a time. So it's really one of the other best ways to help protect your user accounts from being compromised. All right, then really importantly, some things that we're doing today right now, the training and awareness. So some things that you can do. I know a lot of us are probably still working remotely, or some of us are shifting back to remote work, especially for the next 3 weeks or so. So some things that you can do is update your technology. So if you're working remotely again from home, make sure that your computer's up to date. Make sure that your Wi-Fi router's up to date. Make sure that any devices you have there are fully up to date. Make sure you're still backing up your data. Just because you're no longer working necessarily out of the business, but you're working remotely, doesn't mean that your backups have to stop. So make sure you keep using those if you're using it. Use a virtual private network, and those are things like VPNs. They help encrypt your communication from your computer over the internet. So that way, if someone is eavesdropping on your network or somehow intercepts your communication from your computer, it's encrypted so they can't read what's being sent. Secure your home network. So you make sure that those passwords that are on your router, make sure that it's not the default password. I can go to google.com and I can type in your router manufacturer, and I can see all the default passwords that the manufacturer created for those routers. And fortunately, most people today have started to recognize that and have started to make their own unique passwords. But it's not always the case. So always put your own unique password on your router, so that way only you can get access to it. Change your passwords to passphrases. Excuse me. Especially watch for phishing emails as we do start working remotely again. Guess who also is paying attention to that press conference on Sunday? Cyber criminals. They're going to be they're definitely already starting to transition again to starting to attack us with phishing emails that are going to pertain to working remotely. Putting business operations or business process phishing emails in the forefront again. Then really importantly, train and educate yourself and your employees, things that you're doing right now. And I want to kind of toot our own horn here at the Michigan SBDC, as because of the training that I helped provide to my fellow employees. We had an email that looked like this. And it will say Selena Kyle is a member of the SBDC, and sent it to Dick Grayson, another team member. It says this client has one session with business status and the rest are not yet in business. This is causing errors. Please verify the business status and correct this. So right away, you see the email starts off with a link that the center is asking you to click. So this was coming from one SBDC member to another SBDC member. And when you look at this email, it looks suspicious because of that. It says, hey, click this link. It's the very first thing you see. Admins issue. So, it's already saying, hey, some things are probably going, causing errors. I need to fix this for this person. Fortunately, we had a team member go, hey, I received a couple emails from you today around this time. And this is what they were talking about. I just want to verify that these are both from you, as they contained links, but they didn't exactly list who you were talking about. And so, so far so good. They reached out and said, hey, this is a suspicious email coming from you. Is it legitimate? And then, it ended up being legitimate. It says, oh, wow, that's impressive. Hey, nice check, given all that's going on. So that, yes, those 2 emails were from me. The links point to this specific client, but I didn't want to add their names in the email, just for confidentiality reasons. Now that you ask and I look at these emails, I see why you got suspicious. SBA and links to click included, so they recognize that their own email wasn't the best written email to send. And then I love seeing this because they tagged me on this part of it. It says, hey, I copied our cybersecurity guru, Scott, so you can see how diligent our network is. No, that's not to say that we never fall victim or that we're always the best at it, but it shows that we are doing our part and doing what we can to help keep everyone protected, and the education that we do, both internally as well. So it's really important. I think this is a great example of an email string where you get a suspicious email. What's the first thing you do? Well, I'm going to question it. I'm going to red flag it and go, hey, is this really legitimate? They reached out to the person who sent it to them in a different email, and they got a confirmation that it was legitimate. And they, so to me, this shows that training and awareness works. So that's why it's important to have these conversations with your employees and to show them examples of it, and also to congratulate them when they do catch something. A lot of times it's, oh, you fell for this. Well, way to go. Now we got to fix something. Congratulate them when they do catch it and they bring it to your attention on something like this. All right, some great resources, and I won't read all through these, but do check these out when you do get a copy of the slides. All of these are fantastic. Some I do want to point out is the FTC. They do have a great small business center to a lot of different kinds of documents pertaining to cybersecurity tips and tricks. And then also Small Business Big Threat, that's our website. And I just would highly encourage everyone to check that out as well. We have great resources for small businesses. You'll find all these links actually on our resource page as well. So check these out. And then lastly, I want to thank everyone for attending this afternoon. If you do have any questions, you can definitely reach out to me. You can check out our Small Business Big Threat website as well. And also, if you're looking to maybe become a client of ours at the SBDC, I have that link in here as well. So once again, thank you for attending, and hopefully we were able to learn about some cybersecurity scams and how we can better protect ourselves from them.